Hello and welcome to episode 37 of the About to Break podcast. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, it is August 23rd, and it is my wife Katie and I's 15th anniversary. 15 years, I can't sting and believe it. We're actually celebrating right now in San Francisco, just spending a few days up in the city hanging out, and I couldn't be more excited about that. Taking some time off, nothing really to plug, other than to say thank you to everyone who's a producer of the podcast. We've got listeners just like you who love the show and just want to say thank you. This is a free program. It'll always be a free program, but it is so helpful, those of you that are supporting the program by kicking in a little dough. And just $1, $2, $5. We got some that give $10 a month just to keep things going here. And it really helps offset the cost of what we're wanting to do. I actually have the dream of building a studio for the podcast. We want to start doing video and live stream. And we've got a lot of plans for the program, some incredible interviews lined up, and it's not possible without the producers. So thank you to everyone who's gone online to the abouttobreakpodcast.com website and I clicked on the Become a Producer button. Our initial goal is to get 1,000 listeners giving $1 a month. That doesn't seem like much. That's only $12 a year, but it really does offset the cost of putting this out there, and it makes a huge difference for me and my family as we're putting these out each and every week. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show, and let's get into it. This is a good one.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Something is about to break.
This week on the podcast, I am joined by the incredibly talented singer, songwriter, record producer, and the CEO and founder of Palladium Records. I'm talking about none other than Mr. Tim Myers. Many of you know Tim Myers from his band One Republic. He was a founding member of that band and co-wrote the song Stop and Stare, along with many other hits for One Republic, and now he's got a solo career. We talk about the ups and downs. We talk about what it's like to put out 2 records on your own the same month that you have children, and not going out on the road and not promoting those because you just want to be home with your family. Well, now his kids are a little bit older, and he's putting out a new record called Portraits that's absolutely incredible. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Tim at his house in the backyard on a lovely California evening, and we talked about life and we talked about art, and he played me some of the new tunes, and guys, I'm telling you, it's going to be absolutely incredible. I'm so excited. Such an honor. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with the man, Mr. Tim Myers.
We've been through storms, felt the pounding rain. We've gone to the ends of the earth, to the ends of the earth, to the ends of the earth. We've seen the eye of the hurricane. We've gone through the fire, we've gone through the fire, we've gone through the fire. We've been through World War III. No, I will never leave. When nights get cold, I'll be your hand to hold and dry you whole. We've crossed so many roads and cracked those pavement floors. And when the waves are crashing, I'm yours.
I'm here with Tim Myers, and Tim, we were just talking about One Republic, and you started with that band, and even before then you were talking about hustling, and how did you end up getting in the band and just into music and the industry and all that?
Yeah, so I was playing in 3 different bands, and I was doing some worship music, and Ryan's roommate happened to be at this church I was playing, Malibu Vineyard.
Yeah.
And so I wound up meeting him, and he was like, I want to start a band, and we started writing some songs, and I brought in some other friends from church gigs, and he brought in some friends from church as well, from Colorado, and yeah, we just started rocking and rolling. It was crazy.
That's wild, man. So you guys you grew up playing in church.
Yep.
I grew up playing music in church and being in a worship band, and it was like one of those opportunities that I think kids don't get that opportunity many other places.
100%. It's the best place to get up on stage and to perform and also try things out. And it's a safe environment. You're not going to get tomatoes thrown at you.
Right. There's like that freedom of like, there's that big thing with any artistic endeavor where you have to be, it has to be okay for you to suck, for you to get better.
100%. 100%.
I remember the first time they asked me to play at church, and I was like, I know 2 chords. And they're like, that's okay.
Totally.
We'll turn the amp on later.
Open the eyes of my heart.
Right. There you go, man. There you go.
That's all you need.
That's wild, man. So when would this have been? Like, what year would
So
we have been?
I was 18 years old. It's crazy. And,
That's crazy.
I co-wrote Stop and Stare with Ryan when I was like 19 or 20 or something like that. So
it's nuts,
crazy,
man.
But I mean, before all that, I mean, I was always grinding so hard.
Yeah.
And, it was something I always wanted to do, like since I was like 11.
So you were 11, you knew you wanted to make a career of music, and
100%. And I was playing skateboard parks and churches and youth groups and I opened up a bank account and we like started making money playing churches and
How
stuff.
did you
really
even
young.
know that was an option? Was it what presented itself to where you went from playing to going, I could actually do this and gig? And did you know somebody else who was doing it, or did?
Yeah, I mean, I think we, just playing different churches, we saw that, oh my gosh, like there's youth groups and, and we started booking them, and then they started paying us. Like, oh, we'll give you $300 or $200 or whatever it was. And we're like, well, we can do a bunch of these and every day,
Oh,
and
totally.
So we did that, when we were in high school and junior high and all that. It was really neat. And I kind of continued to do that. And, I've worked hard jobs and, and the coffee houses and the restaurants, and I was always so dedicated to music that if I had a gig or we were meeting with a record label or whatever it was, I would leave and I'd get fired, and I feel like that's what it takes, I mean, like,
that's cool that you had like the wisdom that like, okay, I need a steady job to bring money in, but also at any moment you're willing to just like cut the cord.
100% just cut I mean, like, because music was my number one. It's like, this is my goal, this is my number one, and like just having that commitment to go for it, and my parents have been so supportive, but my mom would be like, Tim, are you sure? Like, do you want to be a lawyer? Like, it's just
right. There is that thing of like safety.
This is like impossible. It's almost impossible, and to make it in the entertainment. And nowadays, it's even more impossible because that was the early 2000s, like 2006, 7, and 8, and like now it's like really, really hard.
It's crazy. It's almost like I mean, this is one of the things Tyrone and I talk about, but that, there's more opportunity as far as like technology. I remember when I was first starting in bands, like you had to go to someone's studio to record. Mm-hmm. But now like kids are like making CDs and, EPs and stuff.
It's amazing.
All on their Mac, like doing it all on their own.
It's so cool. And it's almost in a way the craziest, hardest of times and the best of times, because I feel like we're in the golden age of music. The music is so good, and because of that reason, because like you can just have a laptop. Yep. It doesn't cost much, and
there's like next to nothing on the overhead,
and it just sounds amazing.
But it's also, I mean, you mentioned it's also it's harder to break through because. Do you think that's because there's just so like the door is wide open to everybody?
Totally, which is so amazing. It's like a double-edged sword, It's like such a cool thing that the door is open to anybody now, and you can just go on your laptop and just make great music, and that is such a blessing and such a cool thing. But it's also there's a lot of music now, and so it makes it a little more difficult.
Like you said, like it's harder to break through, but now the stuff that is really hitting is such at a different level. I was laughing. My daughters just today, they found my old CD case. And they're like, Dad, what are these CDs? What are these? First they were like, what are these DVDs? I'm like, those aren't DVDs, honey. Those are CDs. They're audio. And so I started playing, dude, I was popping in today, like in the car, I'm putting in Reliant K and Weezer, like all this stuff from like back in the day. Yeah. And they're just cracking up, and they're like, this music is so different. And it's great. Like some of my favorite stuff still from back in the day. But the truth is, like, music has changed so much.
Yeah, totally. I just had an artist in, and I was doing a cover for Trailers. Yeah. And we did Smashing Pumpkins. Oh, and she's in her early 20s, Bullet with Butterfly Wings, Rat in a Cage. Yeah. And It was so funny. She's younger, and I think, really early 20s, and she goes, "Who's Smashing Pumpkins?" And I was like, what? I was freaking out.
How's that even possible?
And and so I played her the original Rat in a Cage, because I did this really orchestral, like totally dark kind of Lord kind of thing, and played her Rat in a Cage, and it was so funny. She was like, "What is this? Like, the guitars are so distorted. Like, this sounds horrible." And it was so funny because now, like, stepping back from it, I was like, this was like gold when it came out, and it is still gold.
It was
but like
such a different, like, that was like,
but through lenses of now, it's almost like, I guess you're right. Those drum sounds are.
Oh
really
yeah, you're like
the
chord, like the chords don't even musically make sense together, And Billy Corgan, like, you listen to his voice, if you really listen, you're like, this guy's brilliant.
He is so brilliant, and those lyrics, and they're just so. And examining that song, but it's funny that younger people not knowing what that is, and
I was just listening to talking about like lyrics. Oh, I was listening to Rob Bell's new book, but he talks in there about like parents like back then, especially like when Nirvana first came out.
Yeah.
And parents would listen like Smells Like Teen Spirit and be like, but what do the words mean? And he's like, you're missing the point. Like, feel it. Like, let it take you somewhere.
Teen Spirit, like Smells Like Teen Spirit, and that, Nevermind, that record, that's how I learned how to play guitar. I learned every single chord to that record. And that changed my life. And also, like, before he came along, like, nobody was really that self-deprecating.
Right.
It was so revolutionary. Like, he was saying, like, honest things that, like he, and now in hindsight, we know it was depression and suicide, but it was so real and honest. And he was saying things like, I'm dumb, I'm an idiot, and things like that, where it was just so in your face. And I think there's a line that can be found between like just artists nowadays like Lorde or Taylor Swift, where they're kind of putting their heart on their sleeve.
Right.
And that all stemmed from Kurt Cobain, I think, that honesty and that realness.
I think across the board in the arts, whether it's music or stand-up comedy or film, there is this rawness right now that is where conversations that weren't had publicly, you go back in the day where it's like, we don't talk about that around the dinner table. But it's giving a generation of kids like permission to say, okay, look, it's 100%. Okay. And that's why this podcast exists. It's like when I made the decision to go full time with entertainment, that's a scary decision, man.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's one of these things where it's like the things that encouraged me were never like the late night talk shows. I enjoyed them for entertainment, but a 7-minute conversation about something funny that happened in the grocery store wasn't getting me through, feeling like a failure.
Right.
But to hear other artists open up and share and to talk, people you look up to and you go, wow, we're all humans trying to work this thing out.
It's insane how many doors get shut in your face in the music industry, and entertainment. I mean, I'm constantly getting doors slammed in my face, and every day, still to this day. And, all my friends, no matter how much success you have, it's just the way it is. And rejection is normal, in this business, it's just constant. And, I'd say, I don't know how many doors, but 20, 30 or more doors for every one that opens,
Right.
And being able to kind of be okay and like to get through that. And I think that's what's so neat about a community of musicians and being able to be honest and real and talk about things, because to have that rejection all the time, it definitely, we're human. It eats away at your self-esteem and your self-worth, and being able to pick yourself up and be like, okay, this is okay. It's my art. It's my music. It's not me. They don't not like me. It's
that's tough though, because like so much, especially when you're being real and genuine with your art and your music or or whatever you're producing, you're putting yourself out there. So there is this thing. I feel like artists, we suffer from this fragility of like, okay, here's this thing that I poured everything into.
Totally.
And if you don't like it, that means you don't like me, is how it lands. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think it's tough. I mean, I try to separate myself a little bit from it, because like the art and myself, because I have to, because I think, yeah, you're right. Like, it's something we created, and it's a part of you.
Yeah.
But, it's okay to for someone to not like it, or love it, or, it's art.
Yeah.
So, like, someone might hate a Picasso painting or something, what I mean? But it's still Picasso,
Exactly. Yeah, it's not tangible in the way of, like, if you you're going to build a building, right? And people see the design and then they see the finished product and they go, yes, that's what you said you were going to do. But with art, it's all subjective,
Totally.
So something that is the most beautiful thing and brings you to tears might make someone else go, I don't get it.
Totally.
Which is frustrating to me.
Yeah. Or vice versa. Right. Like, someone might think something is, like, really great, and it's like, in my opinion, like, not good art,
Yeah.
But that's what's amazing about art is someone could love the thing that maybe not everybody loves, and that's their own special art. And I think that's where we kind of are in the music industry right now. Like, everyone, it's neat. Like, Spotify and Apple Music, you can kind of have your own taste and flavor and kind of discover somebody that's completely unknown.
Yeah.
And they might not ever be known to the masses, but that's somebody's favorite artist, and it changes their life. And I think that's so cool.
It's incredible.
That's
man.
Amazing.
I think that's really, at the end of the day, like, beyond, like, yes, we want to be able to pay our bills and feed our family and all of that, but really it's just, I want to find an audience that this was for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know,
that.
man. I mean,
I love that.
I'm sure there's been times too. I mean, we talk about, like, the day jobs and how those are challenging, but there's also times when you get invited to play an event and you go, why are we here? Like, this is not our audience,
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things too. Like, I know, like, Vegas corporate events, it's like they want a star band, and then, like, you're just like, what's going on? I'd rather be playing the little dumpy, dive bar where there's people who love it.
Totally.
Oh, man. So this is great, man, because, like, I think people hear you're 18 years old, you meet Ryan, you guys start writing music, you form a band, and now, like, one of the biggest bands ever. And then they think, well, you've got it made. But you're talking about the fact that, like, you still...
Oh, my God. Yeah.
You still got to grind, man.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I grind harder now than I ever have. And that goes for my neighbors and friends, like, across the street here, Rodney Jerkins, like, he grinds so hard. He's like grinding now and hustling, and he's getting rejected all the time.
Oh, man.
Like,
and he's done stuff with everybody. Like,
totally. And, it's just the way it is, unless you're Leonardo DiCaprio or something like that, or Adele.
Yeah.
You're going to be getting rejected, It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, from, starting off and you're still working at the coffee shop, or, big producer writer kind of thing. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
What was, now I'm going to ask, like, the story of, like, from when you guys first formed One Direction to when you actually, like, were touring and all of
One
that.
Republic.
Oh, Lord of heaven.
I've gotten that a lot.
Oh, my gosh. Did I just say
that would
One
be
Direction?
Amazing if I wasn't. That would have been so cool. Because I just want to dance.
How freaking embarrassing, bro. We're editing this whole thing out.
No, I like that. I like that.
Oh, my goodness. When you formed One Republic, I want to ask the story, and I don't want to ask it in a way where, like, I feel like a lot of people go, what did you do that worked? And then that's going to work for me. I'm just interested in the story because nobody's story is the same. And, like, you start writing music. When did you gain an audience? Like, when did it go from...
So with that band, it was, back then it was MySpace, and like, it was kind of new territory, and so connecting with fans, I learned really early on, like, One Republic, and at the time Colby Calais, I played on her record and stuff, and I saw how she was constantly, she basically got 8 friends and they were on MySpace on our account all day long, messaging people or doing this and that. And then with One Republic, we had a label, and then all the interns were on there and messaging and doing this whole promotion thing.
Totally.
We wound up going to #1 on MySpace, and that really was what did it, was that, was the new social media, and that being a kind of new frontier kind of thing. And then Timbaland picked up Apologize and did kind of like a remix basically. And then, that's how the band broke was that. And, but for me personally, before that, and still the silver or the thread that's kind of run through looking at the non-successes and successes was the age-old lesson every mom tells their kid is like, don't throw all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ever, and still to this day, I don't ever throw my eggs all in one basket.
And you did that from day one. You said, I'm gonna have these options open.
Totally. And one of the options did it,
Yeah.
And still to this day, it's the same way, like whether it's with production or writing with people.
Right.
I'll write with a bunch of different people, and I'll sign a bunch of different acts for my label or production, and kind of see what happens and what doesn't, because it's really hard to tell, like there's things that I'm like, wow, this is the best thing I've ever done, and it doesn't
get traction. And then something that you thought was, well, that's, we'll throw that in, and it becomes the one that everyone
100%. To be honest, like with One Republic, when I met Ryan, he looked like he fell off the truck. He's from Oklahoma, and he had like a military cut and like these like cargo shorts. And when he answered the door, and I was so into my look and like looking like a rock star and all this, I almost walked away.
Really?
Like I seriously was like, oh, this was a mistake. But I listened to music. So I went in and we're like, okay, like let's hear a song. The first song he plays, he's like, I've only written 2 songs and for this project.
Okay.
And I want to call it Republic at the time. And he played me Apologize.
That was one of the 2 that he wrote?
And that was the first song I heard. And I was like, we're doing this. Like, let's write songs, let's do this. And luckily, I've always said yes a lot. And still to
that's
this
a
day,
big
I say
thing,
yes
man.
a lot. And
that is a big thing.
And when I say no, I'm always like, oh man, what if this was the
one?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
so.
that's huge, man, for people to hear. Because I think a lot of artists, and I see comedians do this and magicians and, all the circus folks that I'm involved with, like they'll get one thing and they'll be like, this is the thing and I'm just going to do this thing. And that's great. But I mean, you never know. You never know. Like at the end of the day, we're creating something that we're going to present to an audience. And if they don't grab onto it, you got to have something else.
Yeah, totally.
That's wild, man.
So I think, connecting with fans and saying yes to things.
Yeah.
And, and obviously as things progress, like learning to say no, because you can't say yes to everything.
Yep.
But not letting, there's certain people where no is like their instinct. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you've ever met those kind of people.
Oh, yeah.
But they're like, hey, can you play this church? It's free.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. But I would say yes. I would go, sure. Because you just never know. You never know what's going to happen. You don't know who you're going to meet. And that goes for LA. Like,
LA is so
it's
like
crazy.
that, man.
You could like play a show and your life could change. And
It's
it was
crazy,
like you did it for free and it was some dinky bar.
Yeah.
And your life is completely changed. So I think if you're out here in LA, it's like just say yes a lot.
Man, I'm so glad this is like confirmation for me because the last 6 months that has been my thing. Like say yes to it and be out there. I heard Steve Martin talking and he was like, the opportunities are there, but he's like, number one, you got to be in LA. Yes. Or New York, or maybe Chicago, depending on your industry. Like, he's like, because when the opportunity comes up, you need to be within pointing distance.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
And it's just crazy how you never know what thing.
And I'm still learning so many things because even like recently, I'm definitely more of an introvert. Like that's my natural thing is like I want to be home, like watching TV, like snuggled up. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to like go out And it's so weird. I've opened myself up a little bit more where like normally I'd be like, oh, a meeting's like a waste of time with someone, you know,
right,
like
totally.
like a music supervisor or whatever. And lately I've been being like, yes. And it's amazing when I've been saying yes. So many things are like happening, you know, it's crazy just by like meeting with someone for coffee, you know, and when I would normally be like, I want to be watching TV at home at night, you know, or whatever, you know, and it's those things that, you know, that can make a difference, you know, and connecting with people.
Absolutely, man. And it's the whole same thing with like when you're creatively not putting all your eggs in one basket. You know, socially, you need to be out there and involved and going to shows, and even when you're not performing, going seeing other people and
100%.
like, yeah. Dude, I was going to ask you about that too, because I'm listening through like your catalog of like your solo stuff, and it's all so different and unique, and you know, like you could tell you experiment a lot, or like something will inspire you, and you're like, I'm going to go with this.
Oh, thanks.
Have you've just always gone that route of like be creative and experiment? And
yeah, I just love experimenting in the studio. I mean, the studio is my favorite part of music. Like I just love recording and writing. I just love being in there like 24/7 and kind of like, okay, what do I want to do today? Like, you know, and that's my favorite part. You know, I love performing, but it's not something that I like am addicted to.
Okay.
You know? Like I'm like really addicted.
Some guys, they like, I want to tour.
writing.
Like I just
totally.
And I mean, touring is fun. Like going out and performing is fun, but after a while, it's like, okay, you know, you created the thing, you go out and present it, but then when you're presenting the same thing every night, you start to miss that, like, I need to do something different and new. And
yeah, I just love creating.
That's rad, man.
It's my favorite part of the music. Is writing and recording.
Well, because, I mean, you were with a band, you do your own solo stuff, you do stuff for film and TV, which I want to find out about that. Like, was that an intentional, I'm going to write these things for this, or was it somebody heard it and said, hey, we want to put this on here?
Yeah,
your stuff is very cinematic, and
thanks so much.
There's a lot of emotion musically in it, you know?
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, you know, it was funny. I was playing, it was kind of another, you know, just get out there and kind of play kind of thing. And I was playing a solo show, and the artist that was playing after me told all these music industry people, hey, I'm playing at 8 o'clock or whatever, and he was playing at 9.
Yeah.
And I was playing at 8.
Okay.
So all this music.
He told them he messed up
because he didn't
want.
He wanted them to come early because he thought they were going to come late, you know, for his show. So he wanted
so
to,
he's
like,
thinking they'll come early and they'll at least stick around.
Totally.
And they all heard you.
They all heard me, and one of them was this licensing company, and I wound up, you know, connecting with them, and they were like, you want to come into the offices? And at the time, like, TV film commercials wasn't a thing for like bands and artists,
right?
You know, this was like,
a lot of it was
9 years ago or something.
Okay.
So I met with them, and again, my instinct was like, no, you know, like I don't know if I want to like have my songs pushed that way for syncs and stuff. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And my manager at the time was like, Tim, you're being too egotistical, or whatever she said. Like take the deal. I'm like, all right, cool. So I worked with them, and like, sure enough, like they just worked so hard, and just we started landing all these amazing things. And so after that started happening, like we started keeping in mind themes, you know. And, and like kind of seeing what was working and not working, and you know, writing for some different briefs that would come in. And so I quickly kind of changed my focus from like trying to write like hits and stuff to like writing songs to get synced.
That's cool, man. I love it, man. You talk about like when MySpace comes out and you guys jump on it, you know. And then when
I didn't. I mean, I wish I was a genius.
No. But I mean, like a lot of people are just like, this is the way it's done, and you got to do it this way. And nobody's path is your path. Like you
100%,
have to just
100%.
Dude.
Yeah, every path is different, and every, you know, because things are evolving so quickly,
right?
You know, especially in the entertainment industry, where like, you know, there could be a new app that's like the thing for the moment for like a couple of years, and then it's the next thing, you know, and and some artists could break that way or whatever.
Well, and you
know?
see guys like, I mean, how many people made it huge on Vine, and then Vine
Right.
is not the thing anymore, or
Totally.
like, you know,
Yeah.
build a huge audience on Snapchat, and then Instagram
Right.
basically is like the next day, this is Snapchat but better. You know?
Totally.
Like,
Yeah, totally.
So it's
totally.
yeah, it's one of those things. It goes back to your don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
So you love
Mama told me that.
Mama told you. Were your parents always they were super encouraging?
Yeah, they've always been really encouraging of the music industry, you know, and just of doing it and
Yeah.
going for it. And, you know, I mean, obviously, any parents, like, are you sure? Like,
Right.
like, you could be a lawyer or doctor,
I know.
or whatever you want, you know, like anything but entertainment. I think
Right.
every
Oh,
parent
yeah.
would be like that. I'd feel probably the same way with my kids. Like, are you sure? 'Cause
Yeah.
you want to be an actress or this? 'Cause it's tough.
It's a crazy life, man.
It's tough.
But it's also
But it's so
fun
fulfilling and
so
fun.
fulfilling. And
Yeah, it's the best. It
that's
really
wild.
is.
What was that like? First time you got a placement for a song, like,
Oh my gosh.
and you see like, you're watching TV and your song comes on, like,
Oh my god, I was freaking out. I threw a huge party, like,
Yeah.
you know, in my
Oh, yeah.
tiny apartment,
Yeah.
and you know, invited friends over, and it was a season finale of Grey's Anatomy, and so
season finale.
Yeah.
That's
That was my
incredible.
first
That was your
thing.
first placement.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
like Ryan writing "Apologizes" the first song. That's incredible.
So we were just so excited. I was freaking out, and you know, I remember having people over too. I was also nervous because there was all
Yeah.
these people over, and I remember like palm sweaty and just being like really freaked out and nervous. My song was like on TV like that, you know, and everything.
That's
So
wild.
it was fun. It was like so exciting, and
It's got to be cool too because I mean, you're talking about like wanting, not sure if you want your music presented in that way, but then when you see it as part of another production, you go, my song helped make this season finale. You know what I mean? Like,
it's so fun.
it's cool to be
it's
part of
fun.
something big like that.
It's
you
fun.
know?
That's what's thrilling about the entertainment industry is things like that. You know, it's just so fun, and
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I know it's a little hallmarky, but it really is true. It's like the journey, you know. It's not
Yeah.
really the riding, you know, or the gold records or this or that. It's the it's like the fun things that happen along the way. And
Oh, yeah.
you know, all my favorite memories, you know, and I'm still young and still doing things, but like just, you know, my favorite memories are like playing, you know, the tiny little
Yeah.
like places
Yeah.
and like just, you know, in a downtown grungy rehearsal space where you think you're gonna get killed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, you know, like
We
but
made
those
it
are
to the
fun.
rehearsal. Yeah.
Those are fun, you know, like just like looking back on those memories and promoting things and doing things together. Or One Republic, I remember like we couldn't afford hotels, so like we would all, you know, it was 5 guys, so 2 of us would sleep in, you know, 2
Yeah.
or 3
Oh,
in a
yeah.
bed and
Oh,
stuff
totally,
like
man.
that.
You were
and
going Willy
on the
Wonka, like the
floor.
grandparents in Willy
Totally.
Wonka.
Yeah. And that's like such fun memories,
Oh, yeah.
you know? Like that's the best, you know?
It's
Just-
funny. It's like even you listen to like people take a show like Saturday Night Live, and they talk about how like during it, when you're going through it, you
Yeah.
know, when you're there 3 nights in a row,
Totally.
and you're just like, this is so hard and challenging. But then afterward, that's the stuff everyone talks about. Like it
Oh,
was the greatest
totally.
thing ever. You know,
Totally.
it takes us a special place in mind to be able to go. In the moment, I'm gonna realize
I
that
know.
this is just as good as the thing I'm trying to make
I did
happen.
that. I wish I enjoyed it, and
Dude.
you know, at the time, because I mean, I think there's moments where you do, obviously, but
Yeah.
like you're right. Like probably when you're in it and it's hard and you're struggling, you don't like realize like this is actually the best moment. Like
Yeah.
like coming up and doing it, and the friends along the way, and the people helping, and the hard work, and you know,
Oh, yeah.
all that stuff. It's just fun.
That's
you know,
so fun. And so when you're in the studio, that's your studio. But that's where you feel like the most at peace and like this is
oh my
what I want to be
gosh,
doing.
Like it is the best place. Like just to be creative and writing and recording. It's just I just have so much fun creating. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, and I get a high or a buzz when you create something and you listen to it at the end, or you get it to a place you love it or whatever, and then listening back and you just get this release, it's like, and I'm addicted to that, I just love like the release of writing the song or getting it right, and it's also frustrating too. I mean, like, there's so many days where I'm like just like angry because I'm like can't get it and it's like horrible and it's garbage, and
man, that's a weird thing, right? Like, especially once we talk about wanting to separate what we do from who we are, but the truth is when you're a musician, you write songs. You know what I mean? Or you create music. When you're a comedian, you write jokes. When you're, you know what I mean? When you're an actor, you act. So one of the struggles that like so many friends have is when you're not doing that thing, there's this weird funk that comes. Or when like you're trying to write that song and it's not hitting.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, and it can be, or just where it's like, God, this is so horrible. Like, this is garbage, and you're just, my wife's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so angry? I'm just like, you're just kind of like that, you're just like, and, just feeling frustrated and, but then there's the highs and, that's what's so cool about it.
It's so fun. And the stuff that you create, because I'm sure there's times you write a song and you get it through like the completion process and then no one ever hears it.
Oh, totally. So there's a lot of that. Yeah, there's a lot where...
How much of that helps prepare you or like set you up for the thing that...
it's funny, like I don't... And did you see the Defiant ones? Mm-hmm. It's so good, right? And I want to rewatch it a million times because like Jimmy is just full of amazing quotes, and Dre too. He's just a genius. But like one of the things that Jimmy says in it is like, if you're a racehorse and you're on the racetrack, like don't look at the other horses, like, because you're gonna lose, and like just keep your eyes focused on what you're doing, and just keep them straight ahead.
That's so good.
And so, I try not to look at the things that didn't happen, and I kind of look at it more like, okay, this was a learning thing. Like, there's so many songs where like, oh my gosh, that one didn't happen, but I learned how to do that production trick or that chorus trick or that thing that was special, and then I put it in kind of another song or whatever, and like the next song is the one, or whatever. Cool. But yeah, I think that wisdom of just like, don't look at what other people are doing or whatever, and just keep your eyes on focused and straight ahead. And
we talk about how good social media is for like getting the word out and sharing and connecting with people, but it's also tough when like you roll up Facebook and you go, everybody else is doing more than I I can get in that point where I'm just like, I need to not look at what everyone, like you said, don't get your eyes on the other horses, man. Just like finish line and
so genius.
Do your work.
That Jimmy said that,
Oh, dude.
Like, so much wisdom, that he has, and his philosophy on the music industry is just wow. So I want to rewatch it again because there were so many things like that in that movie. I was like, wow.
When you're working with, because you have your own company and you work with different artists and you sign people, when you meet a young artist, and I'm not asking this so that people go like, how do I get Tim's attention? You know what I mean? But like when you meet a new artist, what is it that you look for with someone you want to work with?
Just insane talent, like raw talent. I'm not looking at social media. I'm not looking at how many syncs you've gotten. If anything, I would like less because I want it to be fresh and new for a supervisor and like a new project, you know? I'm looking for insane talent, know, and I'm also looking for crazy voices. And like you were saying earlier, like the caliber and the bar is set so high. Like it's insane. There's people coming through that literally sound like Adele. Their voices are Adele. It's insane. And we're like kind of used to it right now. It's like, you know what I mean? Like it's insane. It's so special. And like, and there's so much talent out there. And so, I'm looking for that raw thing. And also like, this is a sensitive subject, but I'm also really noticing too lately, like there needs to be some pain and struggle, like I've noticed, like, when people haven't gone through that, their voice isn't as passionate, they can't dig deep into like something that like
You're you sound great, but it's not.
They need to have that like pain and that like and I'm not saying like like a dark song or something. I'm saying like, because it could be a happy feel good song, but when they're singing it just like Tyrone, I don't know Tyrone's story, but there's something about his voice that has that it's like there's some pain or passion behind it, and I don't know what he's gone through really, if they're what his story is, but I know I've gone through it, and the other people that I know that are just great singers or artists and songwriters, like they've had something they've struggled with,
You can't put your finger on it, but it's that thing that like there was a moment that you experienced something, and that now plays into everything you create. I think it was Miles Davis said anybody, I think he was talking about like the 80-20 thing, and he's like anybody can play the blues, and he's like 80% of it, or he's like 20% of it is playing the note, and 80% of it is the person who's playing the note.
Oh my gosh.
Like it,
wow. Wow.
It's like you can hear three singers with all great voices, but one of them, they connect with it in a different way.
It's true.
Was there a moment for you where something shifted, where all of a sudden you're like, okay, whether it was pain or an experience or something where you were like, okay, now the stakes are higher, or you write differently because of that? Or
I think I've had some tough childhood things and different things that I went through, and a lot of pain and hurt, and and I think being able to go through that struggle, and my wife has had, even as an adult, like my wife had cancer, and she's dealt with that. And, there's been so many good moments, but it's been a struggle, and it's been hard. And, I think that's what makes music so beautiful, is like, it's an escape in a way, and also therapy. It's like a journal, I'm going to be able to write about this. And it's so weird. Like a lot of times I'll be writing a song, and I'm not sitting down in a Taylor Swift way to like write out my journal.
Right.
Oh
yeah.
But all of a sudden it starts becoming that, like in a weird subconscious way, like the lyrics and the melody, just the things that are coming out, you start all of a sudden writing about your past or things that you're dealing with, but I think that's one of the things, on this new record that I really dug into, was like, I want to be real and say like, God, like talk about real personal stuff, and talking about, my marriage and like, things that go on with that. And, like Lauren, and one of the songs is about a friend that committed suicide, Tana, and James Arthur's singing on it. He's on the record. And I wrote it from the perspective of me, but also Lauren, because Lauren was best friends with her. It was basically her sister. And she ended up needing to go to treatment, for 8 months or something away in like Florida for depression. Lauren did, because of her best friend committing suicide, because she blamed herself. She was like, she called me 6 times in a row, and I didn't pick up the phone, and I was with her when this happened. And if I would have just picked up the phone that time, she'd be alive. And this is my fault. And she just carried that with her, and so, being able to let that go, and so that's what the song's about, is from the perspective of Lauren, like, God, if I should have just picked up the phone, and being able to, like, the message is hard, but it's hopeful, like the chorus is like, I'm letting go, and it's like, and basically like I'm letting go of this, and like, and I think that's like the real message of it is, it's a positive message, is like learning to deal with trauma, because it is trauma,
Absolutely.
And being it, whether you're in the military and you got your legs blown off, and being able to let go of that, that thing that's holding you,
I think that's so essential right now, man, because I feel, for me personally, when you go through things and you're challenged and you're struggling and you got family and friends who are dealing with real stuff, and then you feel like nobody's talking about this, there is something about a voice who says it's okay to talk about it, it's okay. And this isn't, like you said, it's not a negative message. There is hope in camaraderie, in a mutual, this is bad, but we're going through it together. One of the themes I see in talking with artists is that because we're so connected with social media, it's scary when you have 5,000 people that you're connected to, or 10,000 people you're connected to, and then when it hits the fan, you don't have anyone to call at 3:00 in the morning.
Right.
And the depth of loneliness, So for an artist to be willing to share that, man, that's huge, because you never know what it's gonna mean to someone.
Totally. And those are my favorite songs to write, where it's funny, I don't really think about those things when I'm writing them, because it's more therapeutic, you know? But then and that happens when I write with Tyrone too. Like we have this song we wrote together called More. And he'll send me emails all the time like, oh my gosh, this girl, she is going through cancer, and like she listens to this every day, and she posts a video or something. And Tyrone's really cool about sending me that stuff with the songs we write. And it's so funny because when you write them, I'm not thinking that at all. I know some people probably are. I'm not. Like, I'm just like, oh, this is a song that I'm writing because I need to get this out. Or, there's, there's more than what we're living for. And, that with Tyrone. And, there's a bunch on my record too where they're like that. Because the album's called Portraits, and it's basically like portraits of people in my life. And so the lead single, like Lover My Love, is like about Lauren. And so, I talk about, her going to rehab and the struggles we've been through, and, we're not having sex anymore and we love each other. And, it's like, and that's the message of it, is like sticking through each other. And the music video is about that too, where it's like, when you're married, it's not amazing all the time, like there's so many hard things you go through, and being able to stick with each other through all those hard times and good times, and be by each other's side. Like that's what the song's about, is being by each other's side,
That's beautiful, man. That's freaking beautiful. Your last album, the last track on that album, Some Days.
Oh, thanks.
That song.
Oh my God, thanks.
Tim, I'm listening, so I knew we were going to get together, and I'm like re-listening to everything. And that song destroyed me.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. That's my favorite song on the album.
That song,
oh, thanks.
Some days I feel like Caesar. Some days I fall insane. Some days I feel so lost. And some days unafraid. Some days I'm full of answers. Some days I'm full of doubts. Some days I'm like King David and slay my giants down. I've walked these wires, I've gone through fires, and all that I've been through. Some days I'm just like you.
And it goes back to, like, so often we go through these things, we feel like we're alone, and then you share it and you realize everyone feels this way. And that when you in that song, when you talk about like some days I'm this way and some days I'm that way, I feel like at times, man, like this is going to turn into a therapy session, but like I feel at times like, am I crazy? Like, how is it one day I'm like, feel like I'm on top of the world, and the next day I just feel like shutting it down? Like, and when that song came on, it just hit me at this moment that I needed it, you know? And it was like, okay, you're not alone.
That's awesome.
You know? It's beautiful, man.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to stop crying here. Your album, is it finished now? The new album?
Yeah, it's all done, and I'm just.
What's
really
that
excited.
moment like when you have a new project and you've got a bow on it, but it's not time to release it yet, or you're like, you know what I mean? Like, is there that thing of you're just like, oh, I want people to hear it?
I'm really, 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 really excited about everything, and like, you know, it's funny, like the other 2 albums that I put out just for personal reasons where I was in my life. Like I have 2 kids and a 5.5-year-old and 2.5-year-old, and literally on each release of those albums, I had a kid. Like literally the month of. So I was like, I want to be home with my newborn baby. So I literally did 0 promo for all of them. I've spent $0 like on the last record I did the year. Yeah, and this is the first time I'm actually having a publicist, a PR company, a radio team. Yeah. You know, social media team, Spotify playlist team. I'm like going for it, you know, on this record. So I'm like really proud of it, really excited. It came at a good time for me. Like the kids are older, and you know, I had to go through a bunch of therapy to feel like I'm good enough. You know, like I was dealing with some demons of like I suck, and I've been telling myself I'm not good enough kind of thing, and my whole life. And you know, and it's not a boastful thing or anything like that. It's just like I'm okay, and I feel the freedom of being okay. Like if someone doesn't like it or tells it to my face, because there's been a lot of doors shut, you know, like as far as publicists or booking agents that are saying no. And it's weird just like going through this mental therapy thing right now. Just I feel okay. It's like normally I would just be so down on myself, like, okay, I suck, I'm not good enough. And then I'd kind of put on the brakes, and being in that place right now where it's like, you know, it's okay. Like I want to do this, and this is fun. And
what a different position to be in, man.
It's fun. It's more, it is freeing. Yeah. 'Cause it's more fun, you know, it's like, I'm not taking it so serious either, you know, and I don't really care if it's majorly successful or not. You know, it's like, I would love it to be, but if it's not, like, I feel just so happy with, you know, just doing it, you know, and trying and
joy is in the journey, man.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? Like,
it is.
I've tried to do it both ways, you know. There was a season, so I was performing full time, and then I quit it all. I literally like sold all my props, took down my website, changed my phone number, and I didn't perform for a year. And what was weird is when I picked it back up, I didn't care about all the crap that like was wrapped up in it before. You know,
Isn't that crazy how
what
that
other
happens?
performers thought, you know. I don't know, man. There is this freedom that comes with like just doing it to do it, and give it a go. Hustle. You know, get as many people to hear it as possible. But there's something special when you go, and you're getting ready. You're going on a radio tour here soon, right? Yeah,
this month of August, I'm all over the place and visiting, like, I don't know how many like 15 or 16 different stations or more, and I'm just really pumped and can't wait, you know, to see what happens. And film the music video and putting that out. And
what was that like? I mean, you'd done videos before with the band, but like, is this your first music video as a solo artist?
As a solo artist, first music video, and you know, it was just a blast. Like the director is done some amazing things, like Kendrick Lamar and Ellie Goulding and stuff like that, and it was so cool, like just how nice he was, and just he went the extra mile. And it was so funny at the end. I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, he has drone shots over downtown LA and just like green screens, and we had a stunt coordinator and all this stuff. I was like, you went way above and beyond. And he was like, I know I did. He like knows it. He's like, this is really good.
He's like, if I do say so myself.
It was really fun.
That's awesome, man.
It was fun, man. I can't wait, and I can't wait to see what it's like, because there were so many, like, you know, the music videos about suicide. Wow. So like,
this is for the single.
Yeah. So like, basically, like Lover My Love, it's like going through the relationship and all the good times and hard times, and I end up jumping, and then it goes in reverse. So like, you go in reverse, and it's remembering why you want to live. And man. You know, I'm going up the building, and by the end I'm up, you know, on top of the building, and going back to my life and stuff, you know.
Tim, that's I mean, I haven't even heard the song, but like, what a beautiful image to go with, like, this story, you know.
Thanks. And it was such a weird, interesting time in my life, because I was feeling, you know, just, you know, a little, I was excited, but also a little depressed and sad, and going through these like therapeutic things, you know. And the director was like, I have this video idea, like, how about reversing and this whole thing? And I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. Like, I think that's great. And it was really neat, because it was almost like a therapy session, the video, in a way, you know. That's, it was like, man. It reminded me, like, I really want to live, like, big time, you know, and like live life and enjoy it. And I'm not going to let sadness or, you know, kind of eat up my soul, you know.
That's a message that is so needed, man. And it's always needed, but I mean, how many incredible artists? You think about how many incredible artists we've lost.
I know.
To suicide.
And this was before Chester from Linkin Park, like, that we decided to do this video, and, you know, that just happened a week or two ago or whatever, and, you know.
And whenever that happens with a celebrity, it's like all of a sudden the spotlight's on it, and then it's gone. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, I mean, every day, like, this is real. Like, the challenges and the mental battles and the struggles that people, I think, even, you know, just within the last year with Robin Williams, like, someone who,
I forgot about
you would
Robin
have
Williams.
never, you would have never thought, like, someone who spent their entire life,
that was so shocking,
entire life trying to bring joy to people and then not experience it themselves. And what a great thing for you to be using your gift for, man, to like share this message with people, man.
Thank you.
I cannot wait.
I hope it, you know, affects people and you know, I want to put a suicide hotline number on the front before the music video starts and after. You're in, you know, just, that's the message, you know, and I hope it maybe helps one life, you know. That would be just, that's worth it, you know.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful, man.
Thanks.
When does the record come out?
So it comes out October.
Yeah.
But the single comes out August 18th.
Oh, so soon,
yeah,
man.
It's in a couple weeks. So, yeah, I'm excited. And the radio, like, promotion, like, going to radio basically is September. So we're going to start hitting it pretty hard with that. And the remix as well for, like, the Billboard Dance Club charts and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, fingers crossed, you know.
Well, Tim, everyone's going to go. They're going to download the album. They're going to purchase the album. They're going to purchase the album and share the video. What else can people do, man, to get the word out?
Yeah, just check out the music video, and that'll be up in a couple weeks. And, you know, Lover My Love, and can't wait, you know, to hear what you guys think. And, you know, I hope you enjoy it.
So incredible. You know, I'll time the release of this so it comes out at the same time.
Gosh, that would be amazing.
And we'll put a link to your stuff so people can just,
amazing.
If you're listening to the podcast right now, just click over and check it out. Please spread the word. Awesome. Share with everybody.
Thanks.
And keep it going, man. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I so appreciate it. I can't wait to see all that happens with the new record, and keep doing what you're doing, man. It's making a huge difference.